Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for your continued support of the renovation and restoration of the former home of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, also known as Sajdah House, located at 4847 South Woodlawn Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. As emerging markets are developed and history is being made, not everyone understands the importance of personal involvement like many of you do. Projects like this are often shadow boycotted, mocked, and ignored. But change doesn't just happen. As Muslims, we don't believe in a spook God. We don't stand around and wait for someone to do for us what we can do for ourselves. We understand that freedom ain't free, and historic preservation projects like this require that the right-minded people get involved. It's easy to complain about our forgotten history, but if we don't preserve our history, who will? The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is quoted as saying, "Don't withhold your good just because another withholds his good. You do your part." Our event last Friday was successful. We had a lot of wonderful attendees, wonderful participation. Thank you and shout out to the congressmen and mayors who supported and were a part of the event. Thank you to our gracious hosts and sponsors. But we didn't meet our financial goal. I have less than 20% of the renovation work to complete, and I still need your help. It's not too late to become a part of history. It's not too late to do your part, and it's not too late to do more. You can financially support this effort by making a donation and or purchasing a commemorative Elijah coin. To purchase a commemorative Elijah coin, just visit sajdahhouse.com. That's SAJDAHHOUSE.com. To make a donation, visit sajdahhousedonations.com. That's SAJDAHHOUSEDONATIONS.com. In addition, I humbly ask that you spread the word to other like-minded, pioneering people who understand the importance of this type of work and desire to be a part of this sacred effort. We don't need everybody to support. We just need those who understand the importance of doing their part. Follow the project on Instagram at Sajdah House. I may be shadow banned, so be sure to like the page and turn on your notifications so that you're alerted when posts are made. And so that we can stay in touch outside of social media, just join my mailing list by texting Do For Self. That's DO, the number 4, SELF to 855-574-9099. Thank you for your continued prayers and blessings. I love all the beautiful compliments and comments that you guys are sending to me, and I ask for your continued blessing. This ain't easy work, but we're going to get it done. I'm grateful beyond words. May Allah continue to bless you. I personally wish you more goodness than you have ever received or imagined.
This is Sister Sajdah Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajdah House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. As we renovate and restore the former home of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we have recycled the old copper gutters and downspouts and created a 1-ounce 39mm coin made of 100% pure copper. Each coin is professionally graded and has its own barcode and registration number. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajdahhouse.com.
Muslims, you shouldn't be around here looking to white people to give you a job. Go look in message to the black man and the economic blueprint And if there are 4 of you, 6 of you, 8 of you together, pool your resources, go into business and set up business all over the south and west side of Chicago.
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people.
Yes, sir.
You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself.
Yes,
So the challenge is an education that enlivens us to do business. Business is the activity of life itself. Every creature is born with the inherent ability to attract out of this material earth what it needs to perpetuate its species.
In the presence of fear, most people forget everything and run, but there are few people who face everything and rise.
Don't you give up on your dream. I don't care if you don't have the money, you don't have the help, and you don't have the family for it, and you don't have the background for it, and you don't have the friends for it. Don't you give up on your dream. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. It may take you twice as long. You may have to take courses and classes. You might not read as fast. You might not move as quick. You might not have as much, but don't you quit.
Y'all heard that? Don't you quit. I wanted to come out here this morning. Look, peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. I wanted to come out here this morning to encourage us to continue to move forward with our dreams. I have several clients I talked to this week. I told you what's interesting is that energy is really something, because we used to realize this in the surgery world that we would get waves of the same types of illness. We'd get like 2 weeks in a row where it's like everybody came in with the same thing. And I noticed that even as a consultant, I started getting waves of people who come in or talk to me with the same issue. And I had 3 clients this week alone talk to me about their dreams. Either their dreams were burning their desires, or they were literally on the verge of quitting and giving up. And I said, you know what? I got to talk about this, because there's a few little things that you might be doing or that you might be allowing to go on around you that could be impacting your ability to focus with that laser precision on your goal. And the top one is this one. You all hear me say this all the time. I used to say this to my staff. I don't worry because I don't know enough to worry. Something can always happen that I know nothing about. So everybody type in the chat, I'm going to stop worrying. Something can always happen that you know nothing about. Listen, worrying is a tool of the enemy. And when you have a dream, something that you're laser focused on, any type of contrary thoughts or contrary conversations that put you in a worry state are really the enemy of your mindset at that time. I'm not saying enemy meaning you got to pull out the sword, because a lot of times those enemies are people that you love. Sometimes people send you into a worry state because they're trying to protect you. Some people try to send you, well, they're trying to protect you and they want you to do what they want you to do because they're afraid of such and such so-and-so. So they start guiding you away from such and such so-and-so because they don't want you to go that direction because they're afraid for you. And maybe they care about you. That's one. Other people can send you off into a worry state because they're jealous of you, or they got an issue with you, or they may be, they come off and they have this certain level of enamoration. They're so in love with you. You're so great. You're so all this, you're all that. But every time you talk to them, they talk negatively about why whatever you're dealing with in their mind isn't working. And I think those are interesting dynamics to pay attention because you don't ever let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. So that person that's constantly calling you, regurgitating the information from the haters and telling you about this person that don't like you, or the white man don't want to do this, or the black man is jealous, or the this and the that. Those are the kind of people that you got to be mindful of your conversation. If it's somebody you love, they will accept the fact that you redirect the conversation. But oftentimes, when it's people who are constantly really just calling you to keep score, just let me see if this person, she's still alive, she's still doing this. Man, what's going on? Sometimes they don't mean any harm. Sometimes this is just their way of being your friend. Other times, it's manipulative. Either way, this is the thing. The energy is what you don't need. Take an inventory of your energy output. And let's say you start at 100%. Let's look at it like this. Let's look at it like a bank. Let's say we have an energy bank and we want to deposit $100 in the energy bank. And every time we entertain a negative thought or a contrary thought, or really spend too much time with somebody who really is fearful and just wants to regurgitate negative information and, just regurgitate all over you. Let's say it costs you money. Let's say on your way to the bank, you stop and every time you stop, you save money. So you're putting money in the bank. You got this $100 and you're walking there. And when you get there or on your way, somebody stops and says, the haters can't stand you. I was down the street at so-and-so house the other day and they was telling me how they sister don't like you. And I told them it's a shame. You ain't did nothing to nobody. And then let's say you stand there for 20 minutes and listen to that mess. You entertain that mess. You literally just heard it yesterday. So yesterday it cost you $20. Today it's costing you $20. So instead of that $100 you're going to put in the energy bank, now you only got $80 because you just spent 20 minutes listening and then engaging in conversation. Yeah, I wish they would. They better leave me alone. They better blah, blah, blah. And the person's just going for it. Yeah, and they got all kind of facts. And the facts that they got, they can prove that so-and-so said this. And then after they throw out all their negative facts, then they come back and try to pretend like they sympathetic with you, but I think they wrong. I think you can do it. I've been loving you for years. You got it going on, in my opinion. Or they say, well, you know what? You really got great skin, or I really like your hair. And then they soften it with some other compliments because they just beat you down $20, $30, however long you've been talking to them. And then they come back with the deceptive intelligence to hook you into them to make you think that they ain't really tripping on you because they complimenting you. Man, you this, you that. It costs you money. So now instead of the $100 that's going into the energy bank, you down 20. And then you walk a little bit further. You see this elderly person and they stop and say, baby, you better be careful because they don't like you. They doing, and they out of love. They may not be low-key hating or low-key jealous or just vibrating at a lower level like the prior person. But you know that person loves you, so you listen. And they said, baby, I love you. I've been knowing you since you was 2 years old. I love you so much, but you better be careful. I'm worried for you. You spend 20 minutes on that conversation. Now, instead of the $80 you had, now you only got $60. Then you walk a little bit. And as you're walking now, what are you doing? You're going, man, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I can do this. I know they told me I needed to have X amount of dollars by such and such time. I know they told me that I needed to have this class done. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. I'm so tired. I'm married to this person that don't want to see me do well. Now you spend an entire 30 minutes yourself. Now you're down and all you got left is $30 to put into the energy bank. So you spent all of your energetic resources focusing on doubt, focusing on something that was going to make you give up your dream. It's all programming. It's all programming. So even though a lot of people mean well, and there are times when you do have to check in with people who have their finger on the pulse of the haters, because this is spiritual warfare, right? It's strategic. So sometimes you do have to do that, but you don't have to do that all the time. And you don't want to send yourself into a worry state. See, worrying is a great tool for the enemy, because in order to make you give up, in order to gain control over you, all a person has to do is make you worry. So if they make you insecure about something, if they say, "Ooh, you know what? There's going to be people that might be trying to do something to you. So, y'all gonna have to let me have access to all your information. You have to let me have access to your house. You have to let me come in there. You have to let me call you every 5 minutes and worry the mess out of you because I'm scared for you." See, once they got you worrying, then you start dropping certain barriers. You start dropping your rights. You start allowing yourself to access people and situations and things that are not comfortable for you. Now, not only do they have you worrying, now you're uncomfortable. What happens then? Mentally, you create a consciousness. Your output in life is connected to that consciousness. See, there's a consciousness attached to whatever you're doing, whatever you're making, whatever money you have, whatever's going on in your life. There is a consciousness attached to it. That's why we spend time being grateful for everything that we can be grateful for. You may not have what you want right now, but take inventory of where you are and be grateful for that stuff, because there's a consciousness attached to that. So I want to tell you all, and I wanted to start this off. We started with those two clips. One from Les Brown that says some of us fear everything and run, and some of us face everything and rise up. And if this talk that we have about how we want to be a God, we want to be a powerful manifester, we know that we have to face things. See, the gods don't run away from problems. The gods don't run away from what might look a little gray. See, when you've been through some stuff and you have accomplished big things, you know that right before you finish, it's always a little dark. Always a little dark. I remember right before we finished the hospital, I want to say we went through about between 4 to 6 weeks of some serious darkness. Really, really serious darkness, with a lot of people trying to come against us, other fellow hospitals trying to block credentialing, other people, challenges with just trying to come up with the final amount of the $20 million. There was just a lot of darkness during that 6-week period. And, we could have really struggled spiritually. But instead, we didn't worry. because we knew, oh, it's going to get done. I knew God wouldn't have brought us that far to leave us. And so there was that dark period. But during that dark period, it's interesting. Step back and take a look at the people around you. Step back and start to look at the people who call you and what they say. See, I'm so conscious of energy and energy periods that if I know you're in a dark period, right before you get ready to close on a house, right before you get ready to open up your restaurant or your deal, I purposely inject hope and love and spirituality into your life during that time. There's people in the chat here who can bear witness. I have a friend that just opened up a restaurant. I know what it's like right before you get ready to open up, right before you get ready to go, that darkness that happens, that painful period right before that last push. I knew that. So I was sending him texts, calling him, look, I'm proud of you. You got this. Being as encouraging as I possibly could, because I've been there before. I'm not going to call that person and say, well, you know, it's a damn shame that you ain't got your restaurant open and that daggone elected official got their nerve. If I got to talk about that person, I'm going to say, what can I do? What can I do from where I am to help you? Because I don't want you in a worry state. I don't want you worrying right before you getting ready to give birth. When you finish and you get right there to the finish line, I don't want you to worry. People will tell you, I'll say, what are you worried about? What are you doing? You already got the momentum. So you got to look at this like you've already accelerated to a point where you've gotten to this point. You can almost coast to the end. You just got to make sure you're not entertaining negative thought. And those people with that kind of thing where right at the end, they like to call you and check in and keep score. Because that's really what that is. That's scorekeeping. Those people, I'm sorry, the allergy season is real, right? I forgot my Claritin this morning. Those people who want to call at the last minute and keep score. You got to keep those people out of your ear, out of your mind. If they're not calling to help you in that final process, it's like you're about to have a baby. And when you go into labor, you have somebody calling you, telling you how many women died in labor. You have somebody calling you, telling you how bad it hurt. You have somebody calling you, rehashing their stories about how they almost died. Or rehashing stories about how cute the baby is when it's little, but when it get grown, it turn into a monster. You have people calling you with this kind of stuff. You don't want to hear that and you about to go into labor. Or if you're already in labor, what kind of phone calls should you be receiving if you're in labor? Spiritual phone calls, encouragement phone calls, loving phone calls, comforting phone calls, congratulatory phone calls, supportive phone calls, respectful phone calls. That's what you should be receiving right before you go into labor. So you want to be careful because a lot of times during that last phase, you always get those people who are naysayers, and you do sort of got to keep your finger on the pulse, especially if it's a strategic thing. But don't over entertain. Do not over entertain that stuff. Don't over entertain the negativity, and don't over entertain the negative thoughts in your mind. Everything begins with a thought. Thoughts are spiritual energy that if you know what you're doing, and even if you don't know what you're doing, it materializes in your life. Every time you have a thought, every time you have a conversation, let me tell you what I do. I ask myself, do I want this thought to materialize in my life? Do I want this thought to create something in my life? And if I do not, then I stop thinking it. If I don't want the words that I say to become flesh or to manifest the product of the energy behind those words, if I don't want it, then I don't talk about it. Sometimes it's things you have to talk about because it motivates you. Sometimes it's things that you have to talk about because sometimes you need just that little bit of tinge of anger in order to push yourself in that direction. It's all relative, right? It's like thinking about something real quickly so you know, oh no, I remember that. Let me move over here. So I'm not telling you to shut down your thoughts, but understand how to be a deliberate thinker. Become a deliberate thinker with intention. If you know and you look at your phone and you know that person is just calling to regurgitate something that's negative, and I'm not saying you're totally innocent in it, because a lot of times when that person does call, we don't change the subject because it might be interesting. And especially if they wrap that negative subject in compliments about you, it's like you get sucked right in. Once you get sucked in, you in there. And so you start dancing that negative dance and playing that negative energy over, and you're reducing your impact over and over and over and over and over again. So something that I do right when I know that a person, even if I know that you're just in the gestational period of your dream, I'm helping to feed the right language, the right thoughts into it. You have those people you talk to, and all they do is talk negative about other people and about your haters and about your business. And when you step back, you don't know nothing about them. They don't talk to you about anything about themselves. It's all about your stuff. That's a problem. That's a scorekeeper. Now, some scorekeepers are good, but most scorekeepers are not. Because in a fluid relationship, you're flowing and you're creating friendship and kinship and relatability by sharing and allowing that person to share, discussing commonalities, supporting. See, one of my personal goals is that if you befriend me or you come across me, you walk away from me, you're going to feel and know that I have been an asset to you. If I don't do nothing but smile at you, if I don't do anything but give you encouragement, but be very mindful about pushing somebody down and into a negative and worry state with the crap that you like to talk about over and over and over again. And you have to be mindful of that as entrepreneurs. Literally this week, I had 3 clients dealing with that. One sister was telling me, she was like, I'm literally just about to launch my product. And I have this family member, and she calls me every day, every morning on her way to work. She calls me and she talks negatively to me about this board that has to approve my product in order for me to sell it in a certain capacity. And she talks about all the other people who have problems with the board. And I said, well, sometimes somebody talking to you about the other people that have problems with this, in her case is a cosmetology board. Sometimes that's okay, because you can then follow up with, well, how did they get past them? How did they overcome it? What was the best way? So sometimes that helps, because a lot of times you might not know what's blocking you. You know, when we were getting credentialing for the hospital, things were taking long and we couldn't figure it out, but it took somebody to tell us what was going on. And it took me having a conversation with somebody to say, okay, I heard about what happened with so-and-so. How did they get past this particular board member or this particular situation? And then the person told me. And then I would notice that over the course of the next couple of days, that person would call every day with something negative. in the name of, you see, I have been seduced into the conversation because I thought the person was going to offer me a solution. And so I got seduced into the conversation. So I kept talking to this person, emailing this person. And then as time went on, I said, let me just see. They just fact finding. They just information gathering. They're not offering me a solution. We got a deadline because, you know, when you're doing hospital credentialing, as you go through each phase, there's time frames. So you have, let's say, 60 days from the time that this is approved in order to get your next approval. And I think we were like on day 58. And this person's calling me with drama. I was like, you know what? If you don't get off my phone with this, because what I need is people who are going to help me while I'm in labor. I am literally just about to go through this last push. If I don't hurry up in 2 days, I'm going to die. So I don't need to hear the negativity. What I need to hear is how I can get over, how I made it this far, how I shouldn't give up on my dreams. I don't need that as a little sentence at the end. After all the other drama and the statistics on how many people have empty hospitals that never got credentialed and how you have to start over and da 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 da. Y'all with me? So I'm just warning us as conscious entrepreneurs. And I'll say this before we go. As conscious entrepreneurs, many of us are new inventors. We're new business people. We're doing a lot of things out here that a lot of other people have never done before, that people wish they could do, but they can't, that people just have never seen before. And so that's why our Saturday morning coffee talks, our Mo Today series on Black Muslim businesses, is so that we can come together as like-minded people and support one another. So you want to be very mindful when you're navigating those unfamiliar waters. When I say unfamiliar waters, I mean unfamiliar in terms of it being a space that maybe you've never been in, and maybe everybody around you've never seen you be in. Make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who are encouraging and not people who are constantly going to just regurgitate negativity. And it's very subtle because it might be somebody you love. It might be somebody you care about. And they may just keep saying, you know, I know you're trying to figure out how to bench press these 370 pounds like the minister, but you know it's only one in so many people at your age that can bench press at that level, blah, 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 blah. You don't need that. Because listen, let me tell you something. And I'm going to say this last thing. You can always defy history. See, we serve, if you know anything about nature and you know anything about Allah or God or whatever you call him, if you know anything about Master Father Muhammad, if you know anything about the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, if you know anything about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you know that in that God space, in that creator's way, they're always recreating and reproducing and making themselves over and over and over again. So when you're riding that creative wave, you may not be the same person today that you just were an hour ago or that you just were last night, because the evolutionary process is constant. As you start to submit to Allah, you start to submit to the laws of the universe. And as the planets in the universe are revolving and rotating, you start revolving and rotating. And that revolution and that revelation and that rotation is going to change you. It's going to make you different. So something can always happen today that didn't happen yesterday because you're moving and changing. And trust me, there's another God-like person out there that is doing the same exact thing. That's why I put that statement up there. Let me put this up here again, is I don't worry because I don't know enough to worry. Something can always happen that I know nothing about. Why is that important? It's important because God is making people over every single day, every minute. You just have to keep being consistent. And in your consistency, as you rotate around, you might line right up with the exact person of your dreams. You might line right up with that exact person that can tell you how to get over that hump. You might line right up with the right person that might give you that opportunity you're looking for. You may line right up with that person that's going to make that final donation, or person 2 or 3. See, so when you're focusing your mind on relying on Allah, when you're in these revelationary stages of a project or a job or a business that is really God's platform, you got to be careful of what you entertain. I was listening to somebody actually sent me a clip from Reverend T.D. Jakes. I actually was looking for it. I intended to play that this morning, but I couldn't find it, where he said that sometimes you have a dream that manifests into a business that seems so weird to other people, that seems so mountainous to other people, that looks so incredible to other people, because it's not your platform. It's really God's platform. So some of those desires that you have in your mind and in your heart, those are God's platforms. He wants you to create that platform so he can go to work. And so it ain't going to come together like other people think it's going to come together. It's not going to look the way. It ain't going to even happen. You might not even be the person that other people thought should even have this opportunity, but God decided that he wanted to create this platform, and it was you that he chose to express himself through. So you owe it to Allah to stay focused, to pay attention to your heart, to your emotions, and be mindful that you don't reduce your energy bank with doubtful, although they might be well-meaning, doubtful thoughts. All right, so peace and blessings, family. How many of you all have already made your donations to Sajdah House? If you have, I appreciate it. Make sure you tell somebody else. This is about urban historic preservation. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that. Make sure you let people know about the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. We are working on a big platform. I cannot wait to tell you what's in the works. I'm not going to spill the beans right now, but just keep liking and subscribing to the page. Tell somebody else to like and subscribe to the page. Spread the word. Spread the word about the donations, and spread the word about the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. Go through here, pick a talk that you like or an interview that you like, post it on your Facebook page. Tell other people to go on here and binge on past episodes. So when we get our national platform, we can bring all these people over with us. We want to come with a core group. I started this off, interestingly enough, in my bedroom on Blog Talk Radio in Chicago, using freeconferencecall.com to record and then upload. And then it grew into a good podcast that I started to monetize. And then it grew into a syndicated radio show that I had with Radio 1 in Washington, D.C. We transitioned from that to now working through for the television show. So thank you all for hanging with me. Thank you for looking at my dream. I had somebody criticize me the other day and say, "You've been doing this forever. When are you going to stop doing it?" And I said, you know what? I can't control the content, Allah downloads into me and he says, go say this, and I go say it. And so I'm just creating different platforms and ways in which I can say it. And I have thousands of hours of content. If you're in your car, you can check me out on Spotify. Those links are in my social media pages. If you go where it says past episodes of the Mind of an Entrepreneur show, those are the past episodes from the radio show that was being broadcast from Washington, D.C. On WOL Radio through Radio 1. So shout out to WOL Radio. That was a great period of time for me in terms of national and international expansion. And so we started something new. So I thank you all very much. Some of you have responded and feel comfortable donating via Cash App. You can do that. Cash App $Mode Today, MOETODAY. As you receive good information, it's important that you also make sure that you give. So thank you all. Thank you. Brother Lamont says, that's right. Energy is eternal and never stops. Sister Roxanne Muhammad, always on time. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Sister Aletha said, beautiful, sis. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you all for your amazing comments. Sister Marva said, that is what I always say, don't let the left hand know what the right hand. You know what? That's right. Let people think you, yeah. Anyway, that's what you do. I ain't gonna say too much about that. All right. So peace and blessings, family. I love you all. I send you all lots of beautiful energy. Wishing you more goodness than you've ever experienced or imagined. Move forward on this Saturday by staying focused, and don't take somebody else off of their focus. You do your part. Okay. Peace and blessings, family.